Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today, we are here to take a look at the new True Lord of Tempest RIMURU with the manga art style. I was corrected on that. Manga, not light novel. Manga art style, which still, still I'm fine with. It looks good. It's not Mitzvah though. It's Taika Kawakami, I think. He is probably the most blah character that I have summoned for in quite a long time. Like, I just look at his kit, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, yeah, sure, but, what else are you doing? So, he is water, he's physical, he is on quite a few teams. Tournament Stalwart, Prosper, ODL, Shizu's Will, Tempest Elite. He uses a fist. He has attack growth, so he has, attack stats. He is an AoE support alt, 150%, and then he gives Tournament Stalwart the permanent weakness strike, 25, and then EX is 50%, and then it only goes up from there, depending on your dupe level and your rock investment, of which I have neither. His first skill, 100% alt damage, and then 50% weakness strike. So it is very generic. Like, for 50 skill points, it's a pretty good skill. 100%, 50% weakness strike, which also hits the backline. Like, you can definitely find uses for this on any team, realistically, because you're always going to need alt damage, and you're always, well, most of the time, you're going to need weakness strike for your type advantage nuker, unless you're in some random stage that doesn't have type advantage. His second skill changes 1 green and 1 orange into 2 rainbows. You can do that 3 times per fight, which you can use that to get around some pretty awful RNG, depending on what you're doing. And then he also gives 20% extra skill points, specifically skill points. So in terms of on the Tournament Stalwart team, like, yeah, you can definitely do it. I don't really understand what turn you're supposed to use this convert on, but maybe we're going to find out today. True Attribute, turns 3 through 5, because they're a burst team. Valor trait seals body and spirit skills, which can be useful specifically against like an Elmesia Lumi team. And then his actual trait gives extra crit damage when you send 6 blues. So doesn't really help anyone else out on the team. It's just for him, and he's not a damage dealing character to begin with, so this is kind of a wasted trait. But let's just go ahead and jump in. Alright, so we're gonna put him on the Tournament Stalwart team, as I have it currently built. Veldora, 2nd Anniversary Hinata, swappable character. You could put another person in here instead. The free-to-play Shinsha, Autogram Lumi herself, and then the new Rimuru. So his entire point is to enable Lumi to do more damage. Normally, I would have New Year's Blessing Shinsha here, who would give us alt damage at 80%, and then 40% crit damage. That skill is actually better for this team than what Rimuru is doing, but it's neither here nor there. We're here to test out Rimuru. So turn 1, begins my confusion of why this Rimuru is built the way he is. He changes 1 green and 1 orange to 2 rainbows, specifically 1 and 1. Turn 1 doesn't need that. It needs 2 oranges. If his skill had been turns any 2 orbs into 2 rainbows, it'd be a lot better, quite honestly, because then you could actually use it turn 1 and get 2 rainbows and 4 blues, and you'd be really good. But you can't. So, already confused. But, let's go ahead and use it. That way we can at least get 5 orbs here, and some extra skill points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 45 back. We're going to get another 30 from Veldora because of his passive skill. And then next turn, perfect. We got 3 Hinata orbs, which means that we can steal with Lumi. And because of how this team operates, I don't really see a need to use his skill again, right? Because we do this, and now we have 6 Lumi orbs. Okay. And now we use Veldora, and now we're ensuring that the next incoming hand of orbs on turn 3 are going to be all blues, plus 2 alts because of Rimuru and Lumi getting the alt rush. So we didn't need alt gauge. We don't need orb changes because of RNGs, because we're deleting RNG. We're just going to get blues after this. And we've already stolen into 6, which now we can use the Lumi buffs And now, alongside this free alt gauge that we got, we now have an EX alt for Lumi. So, when am I supposed to use his second skill again? Like, I'm technically not even really... I wouldn't want to use it turn 1, because it seems like an unnecessary waste of points. But there's the full hand of blues, and it's now like, well, now what? So 86 points now. Let's do another stack of the AoE. Let's do the physical buff now. Boom, boom. And then we have the blue orb incoming, which means I don't technically have to use Veldora, but I'm going to use Veldora anyway. That way, we get the full hand. I got to turn that off. Well, then we just skip it for now. But let's bring Hinata in for Lumi, and then we'll send this alt. Rimuru will give us permanently a 25% weakness strike buff for Lumi, even in the back. So we're going to permanently help her damage out, which is cool. And then we'll get 90 points here. We'll get... here's his animation. And then next turn we could do the Hinata buff on Lumi, and then send her away again. And then we'll have everything that we need to have, technically. We're going to be short on stacks, but the team doesn't have the points. That was a very flat-looking Gopta. I just noticed that. That crowd is like paper mache. Okay, well, funny there. But we saw his animation. That's 25% permanent weakness strike for Lumi. Okay, future hand of blues, look at that. I don't know when we would use the rainbow orb change. Like, we have blues. We're getting alt gauge for free. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, let's bring Lumi in for... Lumi, I guess? So let's do that. Let's do the Hinata buff. Boom. And then let's go ahead and take you out. I mean, technically I could have not... I could have used like another alt buff from Lumi. Not a big deal. We're going to miss out on a few of her things here. But let's go ahead and... alt swap away. No, because Shinsha's going to come in. We're going to have a blue orb incoming anyway, so that's good. So you get out of here. Okay, so we could do this right here. And the problem is that it wouldn't actually do anything for our orbs, because it only changes one green and one orange. We have none of those. It would give these orbs an extra 20% skill point, which I guess is cool, but it's like, I don't think it's worth the cost. We would probably make back the 45 points that we would spend to do it. So, again, my confusion is mounting. But here's another alt that's going to help us get more weakness strike for Lumi. We don't have to watch that anymore because we already saw it. And then we can send it one more time. So in this fight, we're going to have 75% permanent weakness strike from Rimuru's alts. And if you have dupes in him, or if you have rock investment, that will just go higher and higher. But let's get these out of the way. Okay, that hurt a little bit. Okay, so Hinata needs to go. We already have her buff active. We have the Lumi buff already active, so we just need to use the crit and then the alt damage and other temporary weakness strike buff. And then we can take Shinsha out and we could use the final stack of the AoE buff from Octagram Lumi. So that'll work out pretty well. And that's a lot more power, because we don't need to double up too much on the ult, because we're already getting the ult from Rimuru. And then we'll give the 60% attack buff, and then we'll take a look at what Lumi is rocking. So, we have 120% alt damage. 20% coming from Octagram Lumi, 100% coming from Rimuru. And then on Lumi herself, we have AoE buff from Octagram Lumi, physical attack from this Lumi, and physical damage. 60% attack, that's from Veldora. 50% permanent weakness strike from the Rimuru ults that we've been sending. And then we have the element buff from Hinata. We have guaranteed crit, 15% crit damage, and then another 50% weakness strike coming from Rimuru's skill. And then we don't have any debuffs because we can't debuff this fight. So let's do one more stack. So that's going to be 75% weakness strike that we're going to get on Lumi. And then we'll see how hard we nuke here. So Rimuru, no, don't care. 240k, alright, fine. And then Lumi herself, with all these buffs, at least we're capped out on the AoE buff. That's more important. We're missing 3 stacks of the ult, but this team just does not have the points for that. Otherwise, we have everything. And what are we going to do here after she steps on you? 9.6 million damage. That's really good. That's really good. Would we have done more with New Year's Blessing Shinsha? Maybe. Potentially. Actually, well, no, I think at this point, no, because we have 75% extra weakness strike on top. Probably not. So, New Year's Shinsha would be a very good substitute for this Rimuru, but I don't think she would help out Lumi out damage with Rimuru involved. But that's very good damage right there. That's almost the peak of what we're looking for. So, he does help her out, which is a good thing. Does he help other teams out, though? Well, that's a different story. Okay, so I built this kind of a hodgepodge team. We're going to go into Tempered Edge Veldora, and we're going to use a light team. That way we have type advantage, so the weakness strike from Rimuru actually matters. We're going to use Ogre's Pride Benimaru, and we're going to nuke with Shuna, who is an ogre. And then we've got Raphael to activate the Pierce rate, so we get the Pierce power from Benimaru. And then we've got Orb Changer Lumi with the light buff, Orb Changer Milim with the attack buff, Shuna herself is a triple Orb Stealer, and then Rimuru, because the turn 1 is actually 1 green and 1 orange, we could actually use his Orb Change turn 1 and then get 2 rainbows and 4 blues. And that's what we're going to go for. And if we get some kind of wonky orb setup, we still have him 2 more times after that we can try and get out of some bad RNG with the rainbow orbs. This is like the best way, because if you look at a lot of the light characters that we have so far, at least for this stage, they have ult buffs, or they have weakness strike. Blanc has weakness strike. Shinsha has an ult buff. Commander Hinata has an ult buff, so it's like maybe not a good stage for them to showcase in. But we have a lot of characters who have ult buffs already, so we don't really need another one. But let's get Shuna in, boom, boom, and then let's use the convert. So 1 green, 1 orange. Now it's rainbows, so now we have 4 blues, 2 rainbows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that'll give us, fairly good gauge right there. It is just the same as sending, 6 blues. Okay, and then, nope, awesome. And then what's the next turn? It's the exact same hand. Okay, well, the game knew I was testing something, so here we are. Okay, well, let's do it again. Thank you very much. We don't have a lot of Shuna orbs, but with her Orb Steal, we can definitely solve that in the coming turns. In fact, you know what? I kind of don't want her up here, because I just want to steal, and then we can get her EX ult, because I don't have an ult swapper on this team anymore, because I don't have Blanc, which I would normally bring on this. She would be the nuking character, but she already has weakness strike, so it kind of seemed like a bit of a waste to bring her. I mean, you totally could. There's nothing saying you can't. It's just that I don't want to double up on buffs here. Okay, so max points, another stack of Benimaru. Alright, thank you for that. Okay, so now, hopefully, do we get a third round with... I mean, almost. Not quite, though. We don't have triple orbs for anybody, though. This is a 2-2-2 spread. So... well... What do we do here? Let's do... Green convert... It's a bit awkward now, isn't it? I don't have a dedicated orange converter. Normally I would bring, like, Wind Shuna, or Water Shuna or something. Let's use it again. So the rainbow convert to get one of them, okay. And then we can bring Milim in for Raphael to change that last orange orb. And then we can take Milim out, and then we can steal. And this is not, like, the best use case for this, but at least it's a 6-hand send. And we missed the rainbow, of fucking course we did. We gotta turn this off. Okay, well... Didn't quite work out the way I'd wanted, but it is still a 6-hand send. It just does not get us the EX ult for Shuna. kind of unfortunate. But, you know, we saw the power of this rainbow convert. The problem is that now we're really fucked. Because I can't use it anymore. That was our third time, so now we're locked out of it. So, let's just do this. Boom. Let's do the stacks and let's send the 5 orbs here. That way we can get the Shuna EX ult. And yeah, so Rimuru, alt damage, which we're gonna need, and then weakness strike, which we're gonna need. And I don't really know what else to say apart from hooray. Like, I don't know, this Rimuru, you know, has generic skills, and that gives him value. But the type of skills that he has does not blow me away, I guess is how we'll put that. So let's steal those into 6. Let's bring Milim in for Shuna now, and then we can change all of those, and then the final green orb with Lumi. Yeah, this is just a bit awkward, I guess. It's definitely not the best team build, I'll give you that. But I just can't think of another place to bring him that it would actually matter. Who doesn't have a lot of alt buffing characters? What element, what team doesn't have that? Every team gets an alt buffer at this point. Like, it's gonna happen, and there's no way to stop it. Every team is gonna get an alt buffer in some way, shape, or form. We got Frieren. Before that, we got Maribel? Maribel or Momiji, can't remember which one. But then before that, we got Divine General, right? We got Blanc. And then before that, we got Shinsha, light character, AoE light character. And then before that was... well, we got ODL in there. Protector of Peace. Technically, Rimuru gave ult right there. Ogre's Pride was... actually, no one gave ult on Ogre's Pride. Well, Benimaru stacked ult is what we're getting out of this right now. Well, that's a good hand. So let's bring you in, and then we'll nuke next turn. And I can say that we got a lot of use out of all 3 attempts of the Rimuru Rainbow Orb change, and then we're going to nuke right here, and it's gonna go well as well. And Rimuru being up front doesn't really matter because he gives the weakness strike to everybody, including the backline, and the alt buff is an orb buff, so it doesn't matter where you are for that. So hopefully Rimuru has an orb here. Okay, he has 1 orb. Great. Okay, so let's use his buff. Boom, 50 points. 100% alt, 50% weakness strike. Boom, boom, and then we can bring Shuna in for him. Okay, cool. We could use the Milim attack buff and the light resistance down. She's not skill fused. Her skill fusion for that skill wouldn't do anything. And then we can get her out of here. And then we can use the light resistance, or light buff, and then the stun resistance down. We could stun, and then we could pierce, and then we could do our own little light buff, which is already being overridden by Lumi's skill, so it doesn't really matter. And we don't want to crit this stage anyway, so we don't have a crit unit. And now we'll activate the 100% Pierce power from Benimaru, and then we'll kind of check everything out. And we still have enough points that we can just Orb Steal. Boom. Okay, so Shuna has 9 stacks from Benimaru, and then the 100% from Rimuru. So 190% alt damage. It's pretty high. And then we've got 50% weakness strike from Rimuru, 45% attack from Milim, 80% light attack from Lumi, guaranteed pierce, 100% pierce power, crit damage, which we're not critting on this stage, and then Veldora over here has light down, stun down, and then alt resistance down. So this should do fairly good damage. Let's see what we do on these orbs. 76k, okay, sure, 83. And then Shuna's EX alt, that's buffed up by quite a bit, is going to do some damage. It'll probably kill. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't kill. Please kill. Alright, 2 million. You know, it's fine. It's not blow my socks off damage. We can definitely get higher than that with a different team build, but I wouldn't put this Rimuru on that team if I were to, really try and optimize damage. So that's the thing, is that Rimuru can be put on a number of teams. Will you put him on a number of teams? I don't really I don't really think so. So if we look at the teams that I have saved, right? I've got the Ogre's Pride team. Has Almizia. Okay, cool. Best of Memories. We've got this going on. We don't need her. Vengeance doesn't need alt damage. ODL, we've got Shinsha for that. Okay. Divine General, we've got Blanc for that. Visions of Coleus, we've got Jean for that. And then Antagonist has, once again, Shinsha. New Year's Blessing has Shinsha. Shinsha and Shinsha, again. Protector of Peace has Rimuru. Prosper has Almizia. Overlord has Dark Milim, or anybody, or Shoutir technically. Commander has Hinata, who's giving an alt buff. And Exalted Champions, Milim has the personal alt buff. The Weakness Strike, I mean, she has Weakness Strike as well. She has 100 and 100 for 15 points. And then Primal Demon, the alt damage is coming from VOC Jean again. So it's like, could you put this Rimuru on any of these teams? Yes, you could. Would I personally do that to try and enhance the damage output? No, because I don't think he would. I would rather run these specific teams than try and force this Rimuru onto some place that, I mean, yeah, you could get something out of the Rainbow Orbs, whoop-de-doo, but I think it would mess with the cohesion a bit, so I'm not really a fan. Like, I'm not putting him on the Himmel team. I'm not putting him on the Pretty Sparkle Idolmaster team. He can go on Tempest Elite. I think that's a much better place for him to be, but the Tempest Elite Rimuru has an alt buff, so it's like, we don't need that either. I don't really understand where we're supposed to use this Rimuru. I don't quite get it. Let me go back to him. So, I'm sure that in the future he'll have a place. Like, I wasn't super big on Exalted Champion Rimuru when he first came out. I don't think the Exalted Champion team was the best place to showcase him in. But he really came into his own during the Antagonist meta. Not only as a converter, but as a buffing character and a sub-DPS. This Rimuru might honestly get better with a different team. Because he doesn't really flow very well with the current Tournament Stalwart team. Yeah, he will enhance your damage, but you can get that out of other characters who are a year old at this point. Like, I'd probably rather run New Year's Blessing Shinsha for the most part, unless I'm trying to eke out every little tiny bit of damage. And I guess this entire video is just me saying he's mid. He's a skip. Like, he's not bad. He's got good skills. It's just, I'm not going to put him on every single team and be like, yeah, he's God. Like Fern or something. Or Divine General Diablo. Like, he's nowhere near as good. Like, it's laughable, the gap in between him and Fern and Divine General Diablo. He's just kind of there. He's a buffing character. He's a support. Yeah, that's cool. He can Rainbow Orb change a couple of times. Yeah, that's cool. But he doesn't blow me away. He doesn't do anything that really makes me go, oh wow, he's a good character. So, I mean, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this new Rimuru. Do you think he's mid as well? Do you think I'm underselling him a bit? Let me know your thoughts. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all later.